Coming off another successful weekend, over 10,000 people in attendance for the first ever BKFC card in New Jersey. Mike Perry defended his King of Violence title, and Christine Ferreira became the most violent woman I think I've ever seen in my entire life. It is always my great pleasure to speak to the man behind the scenes, the man behind it all, the president and CEO, Dave Feldman. Dave, how are you?
I'm doing great, Damon, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So let me ask you, a couple days removed from BKFC 82 debut in New Jersey, how would you kind of grade the entire experience? I mean, it was a incredible main and co-main, some awesome finishes. Overall, how would you say the experience was for the first BKFC card in New Jersey?
I think it was an A+. It was a complete grand slam. To go up against a really significant pay-per-view with the UFC and still do the numbers that we did and still draw the crowd we did and have the coverage that we had more than anything with the media, it was an amazing event, and the results were fantastic. The fights couldn't have gone any better from head to toe. So, I mean, we're very, very pleased with this weekend. We think it was another big turning point for BKFC.
I know you told me when we talked before the fight, you said like counter programming the UFC was an accident because you had the date and everything picked out, and then of course they announced the event, so it was like kind of like too late. But you guys literally, I mean, I always compliment you guys on your pacing. Your pacing is the best in the business, but literally main event ends and rolled right into pay-per-view. But like in terms of like numbers and things, have you noticed like did it really affect you that much in terms of like actually, because you never went head to head with the main card? And I got to be honest, the UFC card this last weekend was a main card. Like the prelims were not great. They didn't have a lot of big name fights. So like, did you notice a big difference in terms of like the numbers?
Yeah, well, you know what I really noticed more than anything? We put all our views on social media and YouTube and stuff like that. And 4 out of 5, like 80% of the categories that we were in, we actually did more views than the UFC. And I was like, wow, this is unbelievable. Like press conference weigh-in, stuff like that. We were killing it. I mean, killing it. And I was just like, man, this is unbelievable. And then some of the obviously viral clips that we got from the fight, just I mean, it exploded. So I mean, ticket sales, a little over 10,000. Good, not great. I mean, great for almost any other promotion in the world, but not for us because we were anticipating, to be honest with you, 14, 15,000. But, against a pay-per-view like that, we'll take it. And I don't know what the numbers did, but I know we were trending number 2 on Twitter for a long time on Saturday night. So that usually tells you that the numbers do pretty good.
You're doing pretty good when 10,000 tickets are like not a great night for me. I told you all the time, like I think the only 2 promotions selling tickets are you and the UFC. So when 10,000 tickets are like, it's good, but not great, that's a pretty good place to be.
Imagine me telling you that like 5 years ago, 10,000. I would be like, holy shit, Dame, we did 10,000. Yeah, man, you're right, man. But I mean, it was just because we know how good the UFC does there. We know it was outside of New York, but at the end of the day is we had a lot of things going against us. We lost Frankie Edgar. We had a lot of other things going against us, and we still, I think it was an A+. I really, really do. I just told my team again today, man, how happy I am with everybody and how they all pulled together. Like I know, like this guy on the team doesn't like this guy on the team, but I said what you did on Saturday night is you liked BKFC all collectively, and you made it happen. And thank you guys.
Absolutely. So let me ask you, Dave, let's talk about the event itself, because Mike Perry goes out there and does Mike Perry things. I know it had been a little while. Obviously, he had that boxing match with Jake Paul. Took a little time to get him set up. He gets back in there, and it just feels like he never left. Like this was another classic Mike Perry performance. I know I say it every single time. People say this to you constantly. If there was one guy built for bare knuckle, it was Mike Perry. I think we learned that again on Saturday. And also credit to Jeremy Stevens, man. He stuck in there like. He looked, I think he did way better than a lot of people gave him credit for because of the size difference and everything. But, man, he tagged Mike with a couple shots that first round. I was like, oh, man, like Mike might want to watch out.
Yeah, I was going to say that, Damon. I mean, I think also you have to say Jeremy Stevens was built for this sport because he took devastating shots from Mike Perry. And look, every time he got dropped, he took a knee because what do I always say about Mike Perry? I say he doesn't always knock guys out. He breaks them. So he started getting broken by Mike Perry. Like his spirit was broken. I mean, imagine hitting Mike Perry with those devastating shots and he just keeps walking forward. It has to take your spirit. Like, what do I have to hit this guy with? So I think that happened a little bit with Jeremy. But, man, I mean, he's an animal. He came up, 2 weight class since he started here, or 1 weight class since his last fight. And, it's just amazing. He was probably giving up 20 pounds walking into that fight. So, I mean, you got to take your hat off to Jeremy Stevens, but I mean, it's just weird. Like the first few fights, I knew Mike was built for this, but this fight taught me how much different he's built. Like he is built different, and he's not a boxer, and he might be an MMA guy. He's a bare knuckle fighter, man, through and through. He owns this sport. Like that's who he is. And it's going to, I mean, I think we're hard pressed to find someone that's going to beat him at his weight.
Yeah, I agree. Can I ask, like, I know that, like, Jeremy, because Jeremy had fought when he fought Eddie Alvarez, he went and did that one fight stint in the UFC, then came back. Can I imagine you guys do want to stay in business with Jeremy Stevens going forward? Because what a tremendous performance taking on that challenge. And you think about him in the lower weight classes, like, obviously you have a lightweight, big lightweight fight coming up soon with Austin Trout and Luis Palomino, but, like, you could put Stevens in there with anybody in that weight class, around that weight class.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, I think he can deliver for us. It's just, now we'll talk numbers because obviously he got more for this one, and just make sure he's realistic in his return. And if he is, obviously we would love to do business with him. I mean, I exchanged some really great text messages with him, heartfelt ones between both of us. And I think that he wants to stick around with us, and we would love him to stick around. I mean, a guy like that can take those kind of devastating shots, dish out those kind of devastating shots, and beat 2 weight classes lower. That's an amazing task.
Absolutely. Let me ask you about the future for Mike Perry, because Mike's in kind of a weird situation because he's such a star that it's hard not to think about, like, all the history you had with Michael Venom Page and Luke Rockhold and Eddie Alvarez and now Jeremy Stevens. But on Saturday, obviously Conor was there saying, listen, the one thing you're missing is that world title. And Dave Mundell comes in there. They have history. I know Mike has wins over him in MMA, and I know Mundell's been asking for that for like 3 years now. And I know, of course, Dave has his own fight coming up, a 2-division chance to become a 2-division champ with Josh Dyer coming up soon in November. But, like, I'm kind of curious because I know we talked about the Darren Till fight. Darren has continuously come up. From a promoter's perspective, Dave, like, where do you balance that? Because I think him and Dave Mendel is a tremendous fight and a chance to become a world champion. But we can't deny, like, you bring in a guy like a Darren Till, that's a massive, massive card.
I think the tough part for us, Damon, is it's not Dave Mundell, because I think Dave Mundell actually could draw some intrigue right now. I think it's if he beats Dave Mundell, what comes next? Then he fights. He has to defend the title against, I'm not saying a nobody, but a guy that doesn't have a huge following. And then we have to pay him this big price tag to fight a guy that not a lot of people are familiar with yet. That's a little bit of an issue with us. But like a Darren Till, if he didn't get that devastating win over Luke Rockhold, I would probably say that doesn't make much sense either. But I think it makes a lot of sense. But I also think him versus Mundell makes a lot of sense too. So it's something that we're going to have to meet with over the next week or so and see what's next for him. Obviously, he's going to take a little time off, let his jaw heal and whatever else had happened to him. But, I'm looking to get him back the early part of 2026.
I know when we spoke before, you said, listen, you've had conversation with Darren Till, and I know his contract with Misfits was up, and I can't figure out Darren Till, because I talked to him one time, he's like, I do the bare knuckle, but I also want to do the boxing. The next time he says, I don't want to do the bare knuckle, it's too much damage. And I know you told me the last time, I probably got one more offer in me before I just have to move on. Will that be a conversation you'll have to have between now and when Mike Perry fights again to try to do, because I think in terms like, and I'll get to Conor in a second, but like outside of Conor, Till Perry might be one of the biggest fights that you could possibly promote. That's a massive fight.
I think it's a massive fight. Again, coming off of the knockout over Luke Rockhold, I think it's a massive fight right now. I think it does massive numbers, on TV in the UK. I think it does good in the United States. I think it's a great fight. I think it's something we would love to do. We have something in mind for it. But again, you called it dead on. Like Darren Till's a good dude. Like I talked to him, I complimented him on going down visiting his daughter. It was awesome shit. Like it really was. And let's get back to business. And he contacted me back. Definitely, let's do it. We're going to do it. And then who knows? Maybe in 2 weeks from now, he doesn't like me or he doesn't like Mike Perry, and he says something. I don't know, but we'll see. Will we have a conversation? 100%. I can't tell you how it's going to go.
Yeah. Now, listen, you couldn't ask for better promotion than to have a co-owner and promoter like Conor McGregor step in there. And that Mike Perry's post-fight interview was awesome. Him quoting Conor.
I mean, unbelievable. That was great.
That was the best. I cracked up when he did. I was like, this is perfect, Conor. And Conor laughed too. You could see he enjoyed it. Now, Listen, we know you. I was on the call with you guys last week. Conor said he's going to go on 6 months of seclusion, get ready for his fight at the White House. That's June of next year. We know the conversations you've had about Conor eventually going to bare knuckle, and Conor has said many times, "I want to do it. I'm going to do it." I'm not even going to ask you about like the reality of that or like timing and things like that. That's down the road conversation. But when you think about the biggest fights in combat sports right now, you think about what we just had with Canelo Crawford. Obviously, I think if they had booked the UFC doing like John Jones and Tom Aspinall, would have been a massive fight. And there are other matchups out there. But just your as a guy who's been around boxing, now BKFC, and you know the MMA world, would there be a bigger fight in combat sports right now than Mike Perry versus Conor McGregor? Whether it happens now or a year from now or whatever, like, could you imagine a bigger, more attention-grabbing fight than those two fighting?
I said it at the post-fight press conference. I mean, Conor McGregor versus anybody with bare knuckles. I mean, it's different. It's just a different thing. You don't expect him to do it. You haven't seen him do it. The intrigue would be crazy if that was a time where he got back in the ring or he came off of a great fight at the White House and did this. I don't know what's going to happen, but I think yes, I think it has it has a chance of without a doubt being one of the top 5 fights ever, no matter who he fought, but especially if he fought Mike Perry in bare knuckle, knowing that everybody knows how bad Mike Perry is. You know what I mean? I mean how good he is, but how bad he is. So I want to make sure I said that properly. But especially knowing that, I think him versus Mike Perry in BKFC would be. I mean, I'm praying. Man, some great thoughts there. What the number's going to do there? What's the attendance record going to be like? What's the viewership going to be like? And I know there's different ways of putting that on, so it would be amazing.
Absolutely. Now, I'm gonna put you on the spot here. I was watching the post-fight press conference from last weekend, and Conor may have let something slip about doing going back to Philadelphia early next year for maybe another Knucklemania. Is that something is there a potential that could be Mike Perry time, like that February March timeline, and maybe that Philly card? I remember talking to Sean Brady, who cornered some guys there, UFC guy Sean Brady, and he's like, I've never experienced a crowd like that. He's like, that was the most insane crowd I've ever been a part of. I think he said he cornered one of his teammates was the first fight of the night, first prelim of the night.
Wow.
And he's like the crowd. He's like I've never seen a crowd that enthusiastic for the first prelim.
Yeah, man, that they started that fight. This guy named Ito. That was an unbelievable fight. Man, that was great. But I agree, and I do think that I know when it's going to happen. It's going to happen, the beginning part of the year again. And I think we're thinking of some really good stuff. Like I think when I can drop 2 or 3 of their names that are going to be on that, I think it's going to be very exciting. I know it's going to be very exciting. We're just hoping. I had a big top exec, the rights guy from the Zone at the fight this past weekend, and he was just like, I had no idea. I know you kept telling me about this, but I had no idea what you were talking about. This the most exciting, most fast paced. The pacing, I just always get confidence. The pacing. It's unbelievable. Man, the pacing is great. And the action is great, and the way the fans got into it, and there's a real good opportunity for us to do something really, really big with the Zone now.
I love it. Co-main event, Christine Ferreira goes out there, and I'll be honest, I thought, man, going up in weight, Jessica Borga had been knocking people out left and right, bigger, and boy, oh boy, did Christine Ferreira just go out there and prove a whole lot of people wrong. And I mean, that final knockdown to the like I rewatched it. Well, I guess I'm a sicko. I rewatched it like 10 times. It's hard to watch, but I watched it like 10 times because man, it's just that was one of the most brutal finishes I've seen in recent history.
I watched it like 50, and it was only because the sound was like, and I was like, man, that's amazing. And Jessica Borga is good, by the way. She had surgery on her nose to straighten her nose back out. She is good. She's out for 6 months, and then she's definitely already looking to get back in. So thank God for that, and she's in good spirits. But Christine Ferreira, I mean, it was just a matter of did she have? I never thought that she had the ability to do it. I said, does she have the confidence to do it? And if she has the confidence, I think she wins because she's been there way too many times. And that's what happened. She was confident enough to walk to Jessica Borga and not back up from her. Because if she backed up from her, she was going to be on the end of those long punches and get caught. She walked to her. She had the confidence, and she proved she's to go to women's BKFC or to women's bare knuckle fighting really anywhere around the world.
And you said, just to follow up here with Jessica, I know you said nose surgery. Was that the only major thing she suffered? Because I mean, her nose was literally on the other side of her face. I always remember my guy from Cincinnati, my guy Rich Franklin, when he got kneed in the face with Anderson Silva, and his nose was on it. Was that the only real injury she suffered? Was the broken
Honestly,
nose?
I don't know everything that happened. I just know that she definitely got the nose surgery. She's in very good spirits. Her husband's been talking to me. I mean, everybody's, look, it's not always win or lose. And, she dropped Christine Faria. She put in a very respectable performance, but she was a part of one of the biggest events that we've ever done. Right. And that's a great opportunity and something great to be a part of. And that elevates everything about you as well. So I think she's happy with the whole experience. Obviously, she wanted a win, not a loss. But at the end of the day, is her spirits are good, like I said, and she's looking forward to get back in already.
Now we talked going back a ways with Mike Perry, like how it can when you have so much success and you're so ferocious in a BKFC fight, it can become harder to get some of the other guys to come in. We just talked about Darren Till. Like, is there hesitation? Christine Ferreira is a monster, and she has beaten so many of the top girls. Like, is it gonna become hard for you and your matchmakers to find her opposition? Because man, like she's just torn. Like, because like it's not like she's not avoided anybody. She's fought everybody. She's fought Britain Hart. She's fought up, down. So, like, is it going to be a challenge for you guys to find her good competition at this point?
I think a little bit it is. Interestingly enough, Britain Hart was sitting next to Conor McGregor during that fight and said, "Man, I see something there. I wouldn't mind having a rematch." But that's a big feat because of the size difference with Christine. Is it going to be difficult? Yes. Is it going to be impossible? No. And here's the only reason why. She is 40 something. She is going to get older. And every year that goes by or every couple of months that goes by, someone's going to say, they're going to at least think in their head, she's getting older and she could be old on this fight. This could be the one that she gets old. So that's why I think there's going to be some opportunity. There's a lot of women fighters that we're signing really from all around the world. And we're happy about what the growth of BKFC women's division is going to look like in 26. So I'm saying that because there's going to be a lot of opportunity for Christine Faria in 2026 for sure.
And I know, I mean, obviously, you just brought in recently Jessica. I made her debut. She looked great in her first fight. So, I mean, that's a big fight. So, and that is Christine's weight class. So, there is possibility there of some names are already
Yeah,
around.
we got Aspen Ladd making her debut for us in California. We got some other girls, a lot of other girls that we're talking about. So I'm just excited about the possibility of what can happen with the women's division. And I am going to do a tournament with the women, and I am going to call it the baddest bitch tournament. And that is the truth, because I just think I go like this, Damon. It's not to insult the women. It's like, will someone wear a shirt that says I'm a bad bitch? And I think all women will wear that. And I'm like, that's why we got to do that. That's why we got to name it that. And I think they all want to be a part of it, because actually Jessica said to me after the fight, she goes, I'm a bad bitch. And I'm like, there you go. You are. You're bad. Like, there's ways of using the word, but the way that we say it there, absolutely, she is bad, man. And Christine Faria is bad too. And all the women really that fight, I mean, you think about it, they're getting hit with bare knuckles. Like, they're not getting hit with boxing gloves. For women, it's different. It's just different. And why are they doing it? I always said, like, when Paige Sabat and some of these other girls, I'm like, why does she want to get hit with a bare knuckle? At the same time, it's so intriguing. And every time it's an exciting fight.
And that's going to be, that basically is kind of like the counter to the men's tournament kicking off next year, the 25 million. So that'll be the baddest bitch tournament for the women.
Yep.
I,
Absolutely. So,
I love it.
who's the baddest man in the world and who's the baddest bitch, and we're gonna find that out in 27. We're gonna actually find it out, but it's gonna start in 26, and we're excited about that. We're excited about a lot of things that are really coming. It was a huge event for us, Damon. In this respect, we had a lot of really important people there, strategically important people there, and they all left. I mean, the messages I got were blown away. They're like, I was at Forrest Griffin versus Stefan Bonner, and I remember that fight like it was yesterday. And you guys have something even more special than that. And I'm like, wow. And some of the people on the commission that were like, man, we don't even want to see this stuff. They were like, when are you guys coming back? Like, that was unbelievable. It's just, you got to watch it. If you hear about it, you will say that's too brutal and I don't want to talk about that. It's never going to be anything. If you watch it, you can't say that. You can't.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal event. Everything from this past weekend was all positive, but if I was going to, I was going to say it's a negative, just kind of a disappointing thing. Was the situation with Frankie Edgar not getting to fight? I'm not going to get into the medical situation. I'm sure you don't want to like disclose anything you can't disclose. But can I ask, now that we've had a couple of days removed, like Frankie's a legend. We all love Frankie. And you told me when we talked before the fight, like you were a little hesitant to bring him in, but after you watched him spar, he looked great. Obviously, the Jimmy Rivera fight would have been great. Jimmy looked great on Saturday night, and credit to Timmy Mason for stepping up and taking that challenge. But where are we at in the Frankie situation? Because I know you said you're going to revisit it a couple days later. Like, do you plan on trying to bring Frankie in, or are we just going to move on?
I don't honestly, I don't know if he even wants to fight with us again. I think he's a little upset with us, as maybe he should be. But at the end of the day, we were looking out for his best interest. He is getting, a very, very respectable check. So I don't think he's mad at us for that. I think he's mad at us because we took away an opportunity from him. Again, sometimes you have to save fighters from themselves. And I'm not saying that we saved Frankie from himself, but I'm saying for that night, our medical team wasn't prepared for that, and that's why. Will we revisit it? We'll certainly talk to him. If he's interested, we will definitely dive deep, and if we can make it happen, we will.
And you said like he's still getting a paycheck out of this. Like he's still got money out of this.
Yeah, no, definitely. Listen, he promoted it. He went to every appearance I asked him to go to. He did any interview I asked him to go to. He did a watch party at his dad's bar, or uncle's bar, or something like that. Like he really went above and beyond to try to help us. So of course he had to get taken care of.
And I know you mentioned this. I know I brought this up to you before the fight, like the Diego Sanchez thing. Like when Diego came in for the one fight, you said, hey, he got cleared. He's good to go. We're going to bring him in. But obviously, the Austin Trout fight, he got pieced up pretty badly. It was a pretty one sided fight. And I think I asked you, I'm not going to misquote you, Dave. I think afterwards you said, yeah, we gave him a shot, but probably not a guy we're going to want. We don't want to see a guy who just can't undo damage. Was there a concern that, like, like I said, I'm not going to ask you to disclose the medical thing, but the concerns your medical team had, was that kind of enough for you to say, maybe it's not the best idea for Frankie to fight?
There's a lot of talk right now and a lot of things flying around about CTE right now and actually coming after commissions and coming after promoters for it. That definitely had something to do with our decision. That certainly had something to do with our decision. And when we do anything, we're going to weigh risk and reward. What's the risk? What's the reward? And the reward on this one, we didn't think outweighed the risk. So that's why we did that.
I mean, we got to be honest. Like fighters, like you could break a fighter's leg, he'll drag himself. I'm sure, like Conor, when he had his broken leg, he probably would have dragged himself back on one leg to finish the fight. You have to save fighters from themselves. That's how fighters are. They will literally walk into a fire for a fight, but that doesn't mean you should walk into a fire.
No, but what really made me at least feel good about the situation when they did post it was canceled, and I would say 99% of the fans said, thank you for looking out for the fighters. Thank you. Instead of saying, you screwed over Frankie Edgar, that's a bunch of crap. It didn't go that way, and that's what made me at least feel good about that it was the right decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, you guys announced a lot of big fights coming up. I mentioned Dave Mundell and Josh Dyer. That's a tremendous fight. We got Chris Camozzi, Alessio Sakara coming up in Rome, which is awesome. Your international travels have gone nuts. Can you give me a sense, like, obviously, we've already kind of seen, like, what's coming up the rest of 2025. Have you guys started mapping out 2026? Like, have you guys started looking ahead? Because, I mean, you had so many big announcements over the weekend in terms of fights, all the way, I think, December 20th, I think, is the last card of the year. So, like, have you guys started thinking about 2026?
Yeah, we actually have something booked in on January 27th to 27 right now. We're actually going to do something really, really cool that I think people are going to love. We're starting to book some dates. We're actually having a planning session after next week's event to really push everything for after the Italy event to really map out at least the first quarter, if not the second quarter of 2026. But I mean, I think we're launching a new series. We're doing some different things, and I think it's going to get really, really exciting around here. Not that it hasn't been. I mean, we can't, all of us are like Ned now, but I think it's going to get very exciting. I think we're going to add some new elements in that's going to get the fans really excited, and more than that, get the fans engaging with a lot of things we're doing. And I think that's really, really important. We have a lot of plans to really do things a little bit differently. Like I said, get the fans being part of this thing. And I think that's a big, big deal. Tell stories about these fighters, create the stories, create a docuseries, create, docu-follows. We're doing all that stuff in 2026. I really, truly think after this event this past weekend on October 4th, that could be our final turn that we needed to make into really shooting in the mainstream now.
I'm going to put you on the spot, Dave, and if you don't know the answer, that's totally fine, but I got to ask you because you guys signed a guy, Yoel Romero, who made his debut. I was like, man, if there's one guy that's going to be exciting in bare knuckle, it's going to be Yoel Romero. Is there any chance we see Yoel Romero in that tournament next year? Because I'm thinking, man, if there's a guy who would sign up to fight Ben Rothwell or Perdomo at heavyweight, it would be Yoel Romero.
I mean, it could be. It could be. We didn't talk about that yet. But I mean, Ben Rothwell knocks my door down every day for that. He's like, I want that. That's my prize. I'm taking that home. So every day. So we'll see. I mean, Mike Perry actually mentioned it too. Sorry about that. You want me to?
That's all right.
Oh, all right, good.
No worries. Yeah, yeah. I think Mike Perry's crazy enough. He would fight Ben Rothwell. I think he's that kind of guy.
I mean, he's crazy. But I mean, like I said, very excited about the outlook for 2026, closing out 2025 with a great year, a great, Q4. Numbers are going up, viewership's going up, social media interactions are going up, everything's going up. Partners that are coming in are phenomenal. Very, very happy TV executives right now. So we're in a great place. It was a very volatile up and down roller coaster ride, but I think we're in a great place now, and we're very, very happy about that.
Well, I tell you what, Dave, it was a tremendous event over the weekend. I know I say it all the time. The production is top notch. The pacing was top notch. And I also want to give a credit to one of your commentators, Chris Lytle. He dropped a line early in the prelims I tweeted about. He dropped a Sopranos line in Jersey, and I was like, oh, Chris Lytle just won my heart. So tremendous event all the way around.
What did he say, Damon?
He said, I can't remember which fight it was. He said he didn't have the makings of a varsity athlete, and I cracked up laughing. I was like, this is perfect. Like, he didn't make a big deal about it, but he said it, and as a Sopranos fan, I died laughing, and I tweeted about it immediately. I was like, he already won the night for the best line.
Yeah, that's great. I think 9 out of 10 fights on Saturday night were just phenomenal, and you usually don't get that, but I think it was.
Yeah, it was incredible. Well, congrats on another amazing show. Obviously, it never slows down. You guys are just one of the busiest organizations out there, and I think that card in Italy is going to be awesome. Obviously, you got more. I mean, I think that Dyer Mundell fight is going to be crazy. Josh Dyer's looked great, and Mundell's a savage in his own right. Obviously, Palomino, Trout, the rematch. So you got big things coming up the rest of this year. We're still planning on Ohio. Is that still in the works?
Yeah, definitely. That's coming. Yep.
All right. Well, Dave, I appreciate the time as always. Congrats on another amazing show. Can't wait to see what happens next. And I'm sure we will catch up again in the near future.
Thanks, Damon. Take care.